Hey there, Sart here. Just want to show you my initial clear, the team that I took in for my initial clear, just clearing up to level 99. I got it down to a pretty easy three-turn strategy with the following team. So let's go ahead and get in there. This is a no mods clear. This is just clearing up to level 99, and it's just my initial one. As usual, you know, I'll do a few different teams. I'll definitely do a team using my 2B as the primary damage dealer. I think 2B can honestly just sort of solo this one up to level 99 for you as the primary damage dealer. And so I'll show you how I manage that one. But of course, my initial clear is always with my best girl, Esther and Sylvie. So I got to take them in. And so I figured out this pretty quick and clean three-turn strategy for taking this thing down up all the way up to level 99. So hopefully this is helpful for you if you guys have these units at your disposal. Don't stress too much about the EX levels. Your Sylvie only needs to be EX1 because she's not going to use her LB until turn 3, so you should be able to fill it up by then, I would think. Runda certainly helps. So your Runda needs to be EX3 so that he can use his SLB to help fill everybody's LB gauge up on turn 3. He's really the only one where an EX3 is sort of required for the strategy. Sylvie just needs to be able to access her Brave Shift form, so EX1 is fine on Sylvie. You see I'm using my EX3 Esther. Definitely doesn't need to be an EX3 Esther. I'd say an EX2 Esther could probably do just as well here. Kaito also does not need to be EX3. He just needs to be EX1 to access his Brave Shift for some of those unique skills that are necessary from his Brave Shift form. Neovision Awakened Elena also just needs to be EX1 so she can access her Brave Shift. Otherwise, she's fine. Yoshikiri, he can be EX0. He's really just here for his intrinsic ability, be a start that does the 200% human and killer buff to a single target. That's of course going to go to Esther, and that's really why he's here. He does a little morale fill to help out as well. So let's get to the gear. Don't stress too much about my Sylvie's gear. This is just her standard Clash of Wills gear that I've just favorited to her. You do want to preferably make her, if you're going to make her your provoke unit, you can have Runda provoke everything and that's fine. But if you do make her the provoke, that way Runda, you know, always jumps out and covers everything. Definitely bulk her up because there are some fixed attacks that avoid cover, so she will take some damage. So just make sure she's fairly bulky. You don't need counters. Counters are irrelevant for this clear. That's just, you know, this is just standard gear I always put on her. So if you want to make her your provoke unit, that's fine. Just make sure you give her some decent bulk. All right. Esther here is just geared for damage, but you notice I didn't go all out. She's only got one piece of Magister's gear for the chain cap up. I'm not using any of the, you know, the extra Epine stat stuff here. Mask of Azuris for the human killer. You know, Crescent Moon Charm just for a high attack accessory. Tyvis's Gauntlet's what caps off her LB damage. So she hits machine and human killer very, very easily here. Advanced weaponry for the TDH, GF extension because she's capped everything else. And I gave her Chizuru's vision card because this one is now accessible from the Perma VC Select shop. And so if you're looking for a really strong vision card to go on, you know, on an Esther and your Esther isn't EX3 yet, this is a good one to go for because it's really high base attack. It gives the 500 static attack to all FFBE units. It comes with guts, which is really nice. And it also does a 25% Omni Killer, which is just really nice. So 25% killer to all races. Very nice. So that helps Esther cap off everything. 300% human machine, 400% TDH, and 300% LB damage. Ready to rock and roll. Runda's just wearing his standard, standard budget tanky gear. Nothing really shaking here. This is stuff you've seen me put on him, you know, in pretty much all of my videos where he's featured. Standard gear here, nothing shaking. Kaito, he's going to be doing damage in his normal form, because his normal form limit burst is much stronger than his Brave Shift limit burst. Even though his Brave Shift limit burst does chain Extreme Nova, it is much weaker than his normal form, unless you're hitting 200% morale, which we will not be doing by turn 3. So we're definitely going to use this form. Obviously, if you have the Lone Swordsman Vision card that has that Extreme Nova chaining ability, put that on him, and that will greatly increase his damage potential here. He's really just here for his breaks and for his removal of the defense and spirit buff, and also for the removal of the barrier that the boss puts up every turn. So that's his primary reason for being on the team, but he will do that little bit of extra damage, just to, sort of a safety net to make sure we get across the line. Pretty much same gear in both forms. I don't think I've got him maxed out on everything. It's really only important in his normal form anyways. 300 human, 250 machine, yep, 300 LB, 400% TDH. So, yep, just make sure he has chain cap. All you need is strength. That's from the Armory shop, which you have another chance to pick that up if you missed it last time on the Esther Sylvie banner that's out there. So you can pick that one up today. Elena doesn't need really anything. This is all irrelevant. I didn't even gear her for killers. In her Brave Shift form, however, you want to give her plenty of LB fill. This is just to make sure, because you're going to use her Brave Shift LB on turn 2 for the human killer buff for the team. This is just assuming you don't have, like a really strong, or you don't have an EX3, what am I saying, an EX3 Yoshikiri. If you had an EX3 Yoshikiri, obviously we want to use Yoshikiri's EX3 ability that does a 160% killer, but I'm not going to assume that you do. So we're going to use her Brave Shift LB for the human killer on this one. And then, yeah, Yoshikiri, I gave him Obsidian Bracer because that really takes the edge off of the damage over time. The boss is going to ambush you with a damage over time to the party. And it's quite painful if the boss is not broken. And so using a preemptive break like Obsidian Bracer or somebody that does strong preemptive breaks, we're bringing Kaito, but having Kaito's preemptive breaks are only 70%. So an 80%, attack and mag break will help take the edge off the damage over time from the ambush. And so definitely throw that on him. BA start, of course, that's his intrinsic ability. It gives a single ally, the buffs are irrelevant because Sylvie's going to do that anyways. Same with the LB damage boost. We're just interested in that 200% human and machine killer to a single target, and that's going on our best girl, Esther. All right, otherwise his gear is pretty irrelevant. He can be EX0, and that's perfectly fine. All right, so let's get in here and see how we do this. All right, so first thing, we're gonna have Sylvie go ahead and fill up Esther's LB, so she can do that right now. We're gonna do Marion's Blessing Lightning. That way on turn 3, we'll have the 100% Lightning Amp, and then we'll just do Paladin's Defense. That'll give us some LB fill for the team, because we wanna make sure Elena has her LB up next turn for the buffs. Esther can now LB. Runda is going to LB. Yoshikiri, we'll have him wombo combo to do new high score for morale fill. Hikikomori just does some, I think it does some buffs and barriers and resistances and stuff. Smoke Curtain does a typed mitigation to humans. So that's always helpful, just takes the edge off the damage over time, as much as you can reduce that. Elena is just going to do some morale fill here on this turn. Because you notice, like, the boss did a pretty big morale bump on that turn 1. So, we want to try and get rid of that morale bump as much as possible. All right, Kaito's going to do his Crashing Wave. That's going to auto-cast a Perfect Dispel every turn for the first 3 turns. So that way we never have to worry about that barrier. That barrier will be dispelled. And you know, even if we didn't, his normal form LB also does a perfect dispel when you cast it, but it's nice having that crashing wave. We'll do Deep Submersion and Destabilizing Form. We're going to save Unpredictable Tide for next turn because the boss is going to cast another Undispellable buff on this turn, and so next turn we'll be able to get rid of it. All right. So the boss is just going to do a bunch of AoE physicals as well as some fixed attacks that avoid cover, which can be provoked, and so Sylvie's going to provoke those. Oh yeah, I forgot about the gravity. So the gravity attack also, I think it's only 50%, so it's not too harmful. So you see all those white damage numbers that Sylvie is taking. Those are fixed attacks, and they avoid cover, which is why Sylvie is actually taking damage. So if you don't want your Sylvie taking damage, just have Runda be your provoke unit. You just move him up in the party order to where Sylvie is right now. All right, so on this turn, we're gonna have Elena go ahead and do her LB. All right, that applies the human killer buff. Also puts a nice 10,000 HP barrier up, because you know Runda can potentially take some damage on this one. Now we can do Unpredictable Tide, and then we'll just do Mana Few Words, and we'll just do another Deep Submersion, I guess. Esther can now do True Stormbrand for the Lightning and Peril. She's going to do Quantum Storm on Yoshikiri to give him the Extreme Nova Chain, and then Calm Before the Storm to set up her buffs for next turn. Runda, I'm just going to have him do Cover and Runda Laser. Yoshikiri, I'm just going to have him do New High Score and BA Start on Esther. Sylvie is now going to do Paladin's Offense, again to help out with some LB fill for Elena. And then she'll do some morale, just to give us a little bit of extra morale so that our limit burst hits with a little bit more punch. All right, and you know we can try and chain this up a little bit just to get a little bit of extra sort of starter damage, you know, in case your burst turn doesn't hit quite as hard as mine does here. Okay, so we'll just do boom, 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 boom. So yeah, so that knocked off like 6%. All right, so you see the boss has given itself a lightning imbue, and that does hurt a little bit. It hurts Runda a little bit there. You can mitigate that by just giving him extra lightning resistance. I didn't give him really any lightning resistance except for putting Rama Esper on him, and so he only has 50% lightning resistance on him. So if you want him to take 0 damage that turn, just give him extra lightning resistance. Okay, I'm not sure if he's imperiled actually. Oh, he is, yeah. So he is imperiled, and it looks like it's a 200% imperil because he had 50% resist going in. So yeah, just giving him some extra lightning resist will greatly reduce that incoming damage. Even if you can only get him up to like 100%, that should be fine. All right, so we're ready for our burst turn. I'm gonna shift Kaito. He's gonna do his normal LB. Sylvie's gonna do her Brave Shift LB. We're gonna LB. So you see that our Elena isn't quite full on her LB gauge. That's why having Runda at EX3 is helpful. All right, now she's gonna shift to her LB. Yoshikiri will do Chain Lightning. So this should give you, you know, 100 count chain score. Should do appreciable damage. So you should get, you know, a respectable score for a no mods clear on this one with using this strategy. So we'll send Kaito first because his biggest hit is at the end. So you definitely want to make sure that one falls within the chain. And then we'll do, you know, Elena, Esther, and Yoshikiri. All right. So let's Kaito and and there it is. Dead as dead can get. Yeah, 1.9. So the boss has, I think 1.8 billion HP, and I've gone as high as like 2.4 billion with this team. So you know, there's there is a little bit of wiggle room, but like I said, I didn't go all out on my unit's gear here, so it's a fairly comfortable and repeatable three turn strategy there. So there's my score. It's not, you're not going to be getting rank 1 obviously with this team, but it's there for the level 99 clear. There's Esther, doing 1.3 on my previous clear. That's a really low roll for Esther. I'm not sure what happened there. My last one, she did 1.9. So yeah, that was like a super low roll on my Esther there. But that's why you bring Kaito, for that little extra, just to make sure you're getting over the line, right? Okay. So yeah, hope this was helpful to you guys, and stay tuned. I'll do another clear using my EX2 2B, because I'm excited to get in there and just see what she can do. I'm sure she's going to handle this no problem, and so be on the lookout for that. And then I'll start doing some more like budget clears and try and figure out how to get it done. It looks like you're going to want to do your bursts on like turn 3 or turn 5. Just the way that the boss does its buff structure, and so we'll see. For like a more budget team, you might need to go to like turn 5 or turn 6 to do your burst and comfortably kill it, but we will address that as we get to it. So thanks you guys so much for following, and I will see you on the other side.